Hey, what up, everybody? Welcome to Froggy Stonks. Nothing I say is financial advice, entertainment purposes only. Um, what a morning! What a morning! Everything's red, which is fine. I bought 200 more shares of AMC because I like where it's sitting at a price right now, and I'm looking forward to the earnings call today, which I'll be hosting live on YouTube and Twitter. So make sure you come and see that. Hopefully we get some good announcements on like things like retail popcorn and stuff like that. But looking at Hycroft and AMC, I bought some more AMC this morning. I'll probably snag a little bit more Hycroft in a few minutes here, considering it's down 5%, which is nothing but market pressure pushing it down. Everything's red. But I want to talk about where I think we're going to be this week and next week, because the most important thing, in my opinion, again, is planning your dip. Unless you're going to cost average and you're going to stick with that, planning your dip buys on the market conditions, what's happening with the company and the stock, catalysts, etc., is really important. So if you buy the dips properly, then you end up in the green. So I want to talk about my HOILS method too. HOILS is highest open interest at the lowest strike price, which for the past 3 weeks, I've predicted perfect dip buys on Hycroft and AMC, which made a lot of people money because when we were at $1.25 on Hycroft, everybody was loading in that was following me. So congratulations to them. And again, this is not financial advice. This is a method. The HOILS method is something I've been working on for over a month. So far, it's working really good, but you also have to consider that it does not account for any type of negative or positive catalysts. Say like another war starts up or Adam Aaron announces that they struck oil under the theater. You just stuff this, you know what I mean? So keep that in mind. But for Hycroft, for this week, the May 13th expiration, I'm looking at the highest open interest at the lowest strike price. And that is 6,281 calls, open interest at $1.50. Now it's also got quite a few puts loaded up on it. So my theory is, unless something happens to trigger a run, like a whale jumping in, which you can't predict that, we're going to remain under $1.50 for the rest of this week. So that to me is a good sign to look for $1.45 or sub buy zones. Really important. Now AMC, a little different. The stock is way more complex than Hycroft, being that there's, the IWM, which it makes up the largest part of the IWM. So highest open interest on the lowest strike. And when I say that, I don't mean like, okay, there's 1,000 on or 747 on the 1350. What I mean by it is find the highest open interest, right? Which is, let's see here, 7,326. And then I go down on the strike prices until I find something. Once you're, say, 7,326 is the highest open interest, if you're below, say, 70% of that, that's too low. So if, like these ones that are way lower than the 7,000, I don't even look at. Even though there's a lot of puts, I don't look at it because it's not worth the market makers to price fix it below that to steal premiums on 747 call options. And it's really dangerous for them because if they do press it down below, like say $13, you're going to have a massive retail FOMO buy-in. So now they got to control all this extra buy pressure. So it's just not worth it for market makers. But say this, 2,934 is within the 70% range of that 7,326. And this makes sense for market makers to come in and blast the price right below 14 for the Friday expiration to take these premiums out, because that's a lot of money right there. Not only do they take these premiums, they take all these premiums too, all the way up the chain to the final strike price. So it's all about them balancing how much do we want to spend to try to rip these call premiums out of the market and make money on our put side. It's really dangerous for them to do it, but so far they've been insanely successful, and that's why we started No Options May. on these meme stocks, you guys, no matter what you do, if you buy any type of option, you are directly funding payment for order flow, which gives market makers like Citadel the crystal ball to front run the trades. That's why they're beating us, because they're ripping premiums out of the options chain through FTD generation to drop the price down. And then they cover their FTDs the next week slowly to let the price rise back up a little bit. And then they do it all over again. It's just circular FTD creation and stealing premiums. So that's May 13th. I think we're going to, if we close above 14 this Friday, I'll be very surprised. But I bought the dip this morning, the 13 dip. We know we have a triple 1295 bottom off of AMC, which last time we hit that, we actually came back up to 18 and then had that 34 run. So let's go to this next week, the week of the 20th. This is what's really important to me, is the 20th. All right. So again, highest open interest, lowest strike. And people come in like, oh, there's 2,304 on $10. But that's not within the 70% range of the highest open interest, right? So check this out. You got 8,000 open interest just on $20 alone. So let's go up and see what's actually the most crazy. We got 12,555 calls at 30 and then 24,000 both at 50 and 60. That is a lot with very, very little puts. The chances of hitting that are pretty slim. It would be nice, but very slim. So 24,000, 8,000, 12,005. That's still within range. Let's go back. Here we go. 7,000, yep, still in range. 8,000, still in range. All right, so now we're down to 14. Right now, that's where we're sitting. We're sitting under 14. Not much open interest until $15, which is still not in range of those 20,000 strikes. Nothing here, nothing at 17. There's lots of puts at 17, which is really dangerous for them to do because that's not much open interest. From here to here, from $20 down to here, that is not much open interest to be gambling like that, to have massive puts on it. So my theory is the highest open interest at the lowest strike that's worth the market makers to start stealing premiums is $20 next week. So what I think will happen is we probably take a run to $20 sometime next week. And I notice what they do is they let it run. It just breaks that strike. And then it comes back down a little bit. Just before close, it comes back down and we close out of the money on the call options. That's why I think it's a waste of time for people to buy these. If you're going to buy out of the money calls, like deep out of the money, they need to be out for a while. And even if you do, you're still funding payment for order flow. The best thing to do is to use the HOILS method, high open interest, lowest strike, weekly, to try to plan your dip buys. Do a 3-week period and then condense it down to a week period to figure out where you think the stock is going to land. The trick is you have to do it every day because the options chain changes every day. You need to keep up on these numbers. So my theory here is $20 on AMC. I think all these puts below are going to get blown out. If we get lucky, we could possibly have a $25 run, but I think $20 is going to be it. It depends on how the market reacts this week, which we already see it being kind of terrible. So now on Hycroft, May 20th, all monies, we got some crazy stuff going on here. See, normally you would come in and go, oh, 4,760 highest open interest, lowest strike, right? In most cases, that would be right. But look at what's at 250. 26,937 call options at 250. Now, what's funny is here you got a lot of puts on the $1 range, but just fundamentally, we've already bottomed at 125 with a triple bottom on Hycroft. And the fact that they have $175 million in cash on hand, if you divide that by the shares outstanding, that's almost $1 per share anyways. So there's no logical reasoning on how they could get this below $1. I do not know who is in these calls and puts, but it's out of, they must be out of their mind. So technically here, 250 is indeed the highest open interest on the lowest strike price that you could calculate. Not because there's not big stuff up here, but it's up and down within that 70% range, and these are just either barely hitting it or not in, but this 8,000 strike is. So we know right here 250 is probably going to be our target. It's the most logical strike with that much open interest in premiums for the hedge funds to try to knock it below to take them out. But again, if they try to go too low down to $1, they're going to cause a crazy massive retail FOMO. And then if they get blown out of all these puts and these calls land in the money, then you're going to see that $5, $6 run. The funny thing is I don't think that's a lot of retail. I think it's institutional investors, because I'm getting a lot of people telling me that it doesn't look like retail is in the options chain anymore, which is absolutely effing beautiful. Hashtag no options may nom. It's working. We've disrupted the market makers' algorithms. It doesn't know what to do because it's trying to calculate in, baiting in retail. This 26,973, that is market makers trying to bait in retail. And what's going to happen when we don't join? They have no incentive to steal premiums out of the options chain, because if they don't, they're just generating FTDs to drop the price as we're buying the stock, which causes a massive, massive paradox for them. So really happy to see that no options may was trending. It is working. That's how I'm doing my method. I know it's probably still a little confusing, but it's worked for the past 3 weeks, and I've cleared a lot of money buying the dips properly on Hycroft. So hopefully the week of the 20th, we see a run to 250, an attempt at 250 for Hycroft, and AMC, we see an attempt at $20 or more, hopefully, if we have some good catalysts this week. Again, I'm going to do the earnings call today, live on YouTube, live on Twitter. I will start around 4:50 Eastern time, because the earnings are at 5 o'clock Eastern time for AMC theaters. Again, too, man, Multiverse of Madness is blowing it out of the box office. Make sure you get your Top Gun tickets early. Get the NFT, the pin, and the print. I went to Multiverse. I absolutely loved it. It's such a different twist on Marvel movies, and Sam Raimi knocked it out of the park. Fantastic director. So everybody go see it, man. Go buy the product. Same with GameStop. We're the investor. We're the consumer. We own the float. We own the vote. Make sure you're looking for those political candidates that are going to fight for free and fair markets this year. So important, you guys. I know nobody likes to talk politics, but if we don't fix Congress, nothing is going to fix the financial system. It's all a cesspool of insider trading and lobbying. So you guys have a phenomenal day. I will see you this evening.